So, welcome to the second podcast of the BCFC Fanzine. I'm Andrew Clark, and this is Chris Edge, who is from Tired and Weary. This is, as I say, our second podcast. Chris, how are you?
Good. I'm glad there's been a couple of days since the Cambridge performance, because I don't really care about it anymore. I did, within the first 12 hours after, but I'm over it.
Yeah, I'd like to apologise for that, Chris. As you can see, I've got my mug here. It's full of Lemsip.
You did me a favour, because I'd have been ranting, to be fair. And who rants after an away FA Cup victory in a tricky game?
It was a tricky game, but we will touch upon it, because obviously we've had the draw since then as well. But the first thing is obviously the sad news that Robert Hopkins has sadly passed away. Now I'm going to let you lead on this, mate, because it's slightly before my
because I actually seen him play. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I thought I'd be kind.
Yeah, I mean, as a 47-year-old who was kind of being introduced to Birmingham City and St Andrews and the players at the age of 7 in 1984, 5, 6, before anyone told me that we weren't any good. He was one of the first players. A Brummy lad supported the club. I mean, he wasn't the only one in that squad at the moment. There was more at that time. Brummy lads like Julian Dixon, Ray Ranson, and loads of players. But he was just he clearly loved blues. And it's one of the reasons why, as a 7, 8, 9-year-old, he was one of your favourite players, even though it didn't matter whether he was a fantastic footballer. He just loved the blues, and I knew a few Albion fans. Obviously, I mean, predominantly it was Blues and Albion that he played for, even though he played for a few other clubs. Even he started at the Villa, but yeah, I mean, sad. I mean, 64. He's relatively young, isn't it, these days? Yeah. I'm just glad the club, all the clubs actually that he played for, including the Villa, recognised him on their socials, and there'll be a black armband on Saturday for him, and fully deserved, in my opinion. He was, he was just a good bloke, and loved the blues. So
I don't think you can say much more than that, to be honest, mate. I know that John on BCFCFanzine.com has written a little tribute as well, because I know that you both discussed outside of this that he was one of your favourite players, one of your favourite players as a young kid. So, really sad to hear, and hopefully the club continue, to honour his memory.
Yeah, big time. Yeah, very good.
Okay, let's move on to the FA Cup. Now, my memory of the FA Cup is quite dim as a Blues fan. You always sort of remember like the little things of people from the past saying, the final where we played City, and to paraphrase Kurt Angle, that their goalkeeper played with a broken freaking neck, and honestly, like it's one of the competitions that there's just a bit of devastation around for me. I think I just don't think I'll ever see us win the FA Cup.
Well, when I think about down the years, even through my whole lifetime, really, the successes and the dramas that we've ever had have been in the League Cup, not the FA Cup. I mean, the only time I can ever really remember us even having a proper sniff at getting anywhere, I think we lost to Portsmouth away.
Yeah, quarterfinals.
But we'd beat them in the league there, like 4 days before, and we were like, this is great, we're going to the semi-final, and we would have played
it seems
or Millwall, I think it would have been, in the semi-final. It was the best chance we'd have, in my lifetime, ever had to get to an FA. But
I remember it well.
We've just never really been close, have we, really?
No, I think
the Newcastle, getting to playing Newcastle, is probably the deepest I can remember us going in,
in a long time. I'd probably say,
yeah.
I think I've seen us get to the quarterfinals a couple of times, which was the Portsmouth game.
Yeah.
And then
other than that one, you'll have to remind me of the other ones. I mean, I'm normally quite good at this.
Unfortunately, Chris, it was absolute tonking midweek. It was the first midweek games that the FA Cup had done, I think, ever, apart from maybe during the war or anything, something like that. And we played Liverpool, and they absolutely
the 7-0.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to bring the score up. I think tonking was enough. Just going back to the Lemsip there, just going back to the hard stuff to remind me of that.
It's not the only 7-0 we've had, is it? So
no. I mean,
that's why I'd forgotten about it. I'd
just got to erase it from your memory.
To be honest, I just, in my head, it felt like it was an earlier round than the quarterfinals. But no,
it was the quarters. I actually remember where I was in that day. I was in I was in a social club in Sheldon. We were doing the central. No, it wasn't the Central Warwickshire. It was one of the league meetings, and I'd had to go because our secretary couldn't go. So, we had to. And just watching it in the background whilst this league meeting's going on, and I'm just watching the ball just go into the net, and I'm sitting there going, "Oh, I'm so glad it didn't go."
I mean, Leeds. I mean, really. I mean, unless it's a Man City or an Arsenal or a Villa, really. I mean, anyone at home, you'd think to yourself, well, they won't come full throttle.
See, I think Leeds
there's always a chance. Yeah, I think as a lower half Premier League, I don't think that matters when we're at home.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, I was quite happy with the draw of the teams that were sort of left as it was tipping on. City was still there, obviously Villa was still there as well, and I'd have taken Villa at home. I mean, but I'd just take it. You never know.
Not at the moment. No,
you never know, do you? That's what one of them. It's one of the FA Cup. Macclesfield beat Palace, didn't they? The holders. So
exactly. Yeah.
So just quickly recapping the Cambridge game.
I'm glad we never got them away. Put it that way.
Yeah. Well, that would have been a Blythe Spartans first half job. That would have been.
I've seen us lose to Kidderminster at home when they were non-league, and that was.
Do you know what? Right, that is. Here's a fact for you. That is the first ever Birmingham City game I went to, and I still stuck with it. It is grim. I don't know why. And the second game was Notts County, and we got battered. So clearly, I set myself up for a lifetime of pain.
Either that or call Childline, one of the two.
Yeah, maybe I should have. Mate. I didn't know the number. Maybe my uncle was trying.
Yeah, and funnily enough, they never had it on the walls in the ground at that point. I mean,
sitting in the main stand, it's just a big Cadbury sign.
Like my dad. I mean, this would be a story for another day. But my dad, when he first went, they won the first 4 games. When I first went, we won our first 3 games. Obviously, he never warned me that they were the only 4 games that we had in his life before that. But I mean, just at that age, at that age, it's not.
It's one of them, and it's a memory. Like when I say to people, people say, "Well, what was your first game?" And everyone sort of, when we went to Morocco and I met the family from Eton, big Blues fans, and he was like, "Oh, my first couple of games were like in the Prem," and I'm sitting there going,
What's that?
Mine was Kidderminster in the FA Cup, and no, I don't really want to talk about it.
A bit like in my lifetime, what came round for me, like in my life, the Blues in the Premier League came before Facebook was even a thing. Like I was 23 when Blues went into the Premier League the first time, and then when I was 25, Facebook existed. So I've been deprived
13, 14.
I've been deprived of my very, very young life of Premier League football and social media. Although I wouldn't say that I've been. I wouldn't say it's a real depression.
No, I don't think you're. I don't think your views on Twitter. We've got long enough for that, mate. So let's move on to this.
Right. Yeah.
Cambridge, obviously, we were comfortable, and then he made a raft of changes that kind of the balance of the team sort of went out the window. Robinson was forced. I don't think Neumann was particularly ready to come on at that point, as he probably wouldn't have been. But he was at fault for the first goal. I know that you got the second goal. I've watched it back. Beadle should have done better.
Yeah. I mean, when we said instantly, I mean, my first thing was about the goalkeeper. Yes, it was clearly Neumann's fault. But I'm sorry, the shot was straight at Beadle. It really was. I mean, like, I just fail to understand how a frame like that cannot get any part of his body on shots that are straight at him. I just can't understand it.
Well,
and it was twice in that game. I'm not blaming him directly for the goal. But I'm going, come on, man! Like you've got to get.
I think watching the game, the first sort of 25 to 30 minutes was a tough watch. It was like. I'm sat there watching it, and I'm struggling, and I'm thinking I'm struggling to stay awake. Obviously, as I've mentioned, I've had the flu or flu-like symptoms the last few days. I think that sort of sped that up because I was sort of struggling to watch that game, and then it sort of kicked into life, and we looked like we were getting a bit of fluidity. We were starting to try and play the passes like a team in our situation should have. And then the second half, again, the first sort of 15, 20 minutes, Cambridge could have scored. We were poor in the second half. But I do think that the forced changes didn't help. But then I do think some of the just the tactical decisions were just a bit strange. I'm starting to come to the dark side here, Chris. I feel like I'm starting to agree with you. I don't know what's going on.
That's never a good thing.
It's not.
It's never a good thing, because generally the thing that you were agreeing with me is the thing you just don't want it to be. I mean, my takes from the game is that it didn't even stand out as an individual performance. Like when you cast your mind to every away performance, yes, we won the game, and it could have been 3-0. But even if you take away the 2 goals that they scored, it's the exact same performance away from home than it has been since the start of the Davies era. I can't think of a game away from home at the moment, when I cast my mind back, where I've gone, well, they played ever so, a real performance. Especially last season, like it didn't really dawn on me. Because they were putting in performances like they did against Cambridge.
Yeah.
But obviously winning games, it's because it was lesser opposition and they were winning games, and you didn't care that they they hadn't attacked that well or created a ton of chances. You'd win 2-1 or 2-0 or whatever and go, okay, great, fine, another 3 points on the board, but off we go. But it's only when you look at now and you're thinking, he's took the same performance into that Cambridge game as he has done practically every other away game. The only difference between the two is we have played League 2 opposition that have given us opportunities to score goals where you don't get that in the Championship.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And
it's almost as if you could hold your fingers over who the away team is in the top left-hand corner, and you wouldn't be able to tell the difference between this game or any other game. I mean,
when I look back at it from last season's point of view, there's a guy in a Warwick OSC chat group, Rob. He goes home and away every game, and he was saying there were times when we were away last season that he dreaded going because it was going to be a struggle. Actually, he said that there was a lot of things that got us out of jail when we were away from home last season. And I always pinpoint, I think it was Huddersfield where Keshi scored an absolute worldie.
Yeah.
That got us really out of trouble, and to be honest, we got away with it. I think but then there were games away from home when we played Bolton, and they battered us, like they played us off the park.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of he's been bringing it up for a while. He did make a comment, and if he does watch this back, because I'm going to share it on our OSC group. He made a comment earlier on in the season saying Robinson is better than Neumann. Right. He said Robinson is better, but recently it's starting to come true. Like consistently, his work is better than Neumann's, and I'm trying to find a way of. I think there's still something in. I still think Robinson is going to mess up, and I do think we're going to get some more bodies through the door.
I feel like it's been a bit difficult for Neumann to carry on consistently, because let's face it, he's been the fall guy.
Yeah,
he's been the one that's been dropped 3 times now, and he's. I can't look at him and go, he's cost us. Other than the first goal against Cambridge, I can't look at him and go, he's cost us a goal this season. He's put in a performance that has cost us a result or a goal. Where I can do that with Robinson, and Ashing to an extent maybe has cost us goals. But I mean that was still the one against Coventry.
Yeah.
So I actually feel like it's been unfair on him, and obviously when he's just been shoved back into the team. I don't know. If I was him, I wouldn't be happy. Put it that way.
No.
You know, I mean, when he came in to cover Clara, I still thought he was better than Robinson in them 3 games. Personally, I
do. I think, but Robinson adds a bit more balance because he is left-footed. I think that's one of the problems we've had. Is I think we spoke about it on the last pod. We were talking about the fact that Ben Davies and Clara worked so well because they were so balanced.
Possibly, but then again, can we think to any point in this season where the lack of balance in them 2 has cost us goals or games? And I can't say it has really. I mean, fair play to Robinson. He has come in and he's done okay, but I would still pick Neumann over him any day.
Yeah,
personally, but I mean, I just don't see how
unless we bring someone in.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, there's a few whispers. I mean, I don't really pay much attention to transfers until admin put them up, and that kind of stuff. But but there are a couple of.
Who was that striker we chased for ages? Denny Johnstone. I think he was the last one that was stood there. Someone put it up on Twitter. I know that you don't like it on Twitter. Somebody put it on Twitter earlier, and I was like, "That's really interesting." I don't think you see people like with the like badge anymore, or the scarf or anything like that. They're kind of at the epic centre, just pointing at the badge like this.
Yeah. Denny Johnston. They chased him for ages.
And never played him. Never played him.
Such a big deal about him signing, and then we never seen him play a minute.
No, I'm sure he did. I'm sure he played.
Might have done, but I never.
Which brings us on now to the transfer market, the transfer rumours. Now, there's a couple of rumours that are bandied about, because obviously you saying that you don't really know much about. I don't know what you do know and what you don't at this point. But there are more rumours than a Fleetwood Mac album at the minute. It is just going round.
That one went like that for a second.
Yeah. See, look, you know. I'm not that young. So the first one. That has been reported by Mox is that we are looking to sign Beadle on a permanent in the summer. I wanted to start with that one, right? This is not the biggest news. I wanted to start with this one, so I wanted to see your reaction.
This is the kind of rumour that humour goes out the window for me. I know it's just not funny. They cannot be signing this goalkeeper. They just can't. Is it me? Do we watch different things or what? I mean, how can one person who gets paid this is their job, right? To get paid to pick these players, can sit there and tell me that he's a good goalkeeper? He's shocking. I can't. No.
I'm wondering whether or not they're looking at it from a sort of long-term investment that we could, Mike Taylor could work with him and try and get him to, kind of like what we did with Joe Hart back in the day, and then obviously Butland and people like that, that when he becomes our player, obviously Joe Hart wasn't our player, but when a lot of people forget when Joe Hart first came, he couldn't catch a ball. And then he went on to be England's number 1 for about 4 years. So
yeah, but the difference was he could catch a ball after playing 10 games for us. He's played 25 games now. He's flapping around like a... Do you know who he reminds me of in that green kit? Have you seen Bug's Life? You know, the stick insects, right? Nah, not me. Okay, no, he's just not for me. And I will always be harsh on goalkeepers because I don't mind a goalkeeper that can't distribute the ball that well. I get that. I get that they are goalkeepers after all. I admire ones that can, and I accept ones that can't do it so well. What I can't accept is goalkeepers that flap at crosses, can't catch a ball, and beat crosses down the middle of the goal on a consistent basis. I can't accept them. And every time it goes anywhere near our goal, I am frightened half to death.
Yeah. No,
I don't care if his shot percentage is higher than Allsop's. Right? If I was a defender and he was behind me, I would have zero.
It kind of felt like that on Saturday with the Cambridge game, is that the confidence once that first goal went in of the defenders that Beadle wasn't going to make a mistake was evident. I think that they were dropping a little bit deeper than they were obviously nervous. When that first goal went in for Cambridge, they obviously were like, oh, hang on a minute, we can't let them do that. And bear in mind, this all happened in the last 10 minutes of the game. I think for me, but Beadle on a permanent, he's not better than Allsop. In my opinion, he's not better than Allsop. But I've seen people, saying the same thing about Allsop. His confidence is gone and everything like that. But if you look at Allsop from last season, he was so... I'm trying to think of the word. He was perfect for the way that we set up, and he still is now. His passing range was outstanding. I don't think I've ever seen a goalkeeper with that sort of passing range.
I will say that that side of it has dipped in the game. I think that's the reason why he lost his place, because it wasn't as good as it was this season. But it's still not enough for him to get dropped. I mean, I think there's probably 2 goals that he conceded this season that I'd look at it and go, you should have done better with that. Well, I can think of 2 in the last 3 games for Beadle, let alone the whole season. If it's true, that I'd be really disappointed. And if I was Brighton, I'd be going, yeah, right then.
Well, bear in mind Brighton have also got Rushworth at Cov. Yeah. And we actually had the option of taking either one of them. So we took Beadle, probably based upon the fact that he had a working relationship with Stansfield based from the Euros. But then I question, is it well, if Stano scored a load of goals against him, then that's not good. You want to be signing the goalkeeper you can't score against. That. Yeah, I mean, I can see it happening, but I don't think it's
score against Beadle. Then fucking hell, we've got more problems than.
The second one is that there's 2 players here, right? Now, I hope I got his name right, but Mana.
Yes, no, that is the one that I have paid a little bit of attention to, because that seems to have a lot more creditable traction to it.
It's gone a little bit like Poku and Akpom in the last 24 hours. So he apparently was on his way. He'd agreed a deal. We'd agreed a deal with the Swedish club he's at. Off the top of my head, I can't remember it. It might be Hammarby.
And MJA, Matt.
Yeah, Mulby.
Yeah.
I think, and then it's come out that basically his agent has tried to get him a better deal elsewhere. Similar to Poku, and we kind of know what happened with that. He ended up going to QPR for actually less money than we were offering him, because we pulled out of the deal and no one else really wanted him. I'm not going to say, oh, yeah, I know him from Football Manager, because I don't. I haven't got a clue.
I mean, from what I can gather on the very limited bits and pieces that I've read, is that this isn't the first time that a deal has been there for a club and it's fell through. It happened with Olympiacos a year ago, and it happened with Coventry at the start of the season. Now, from what I can gather on just what I've read, it kind of feels that it's not really the player, but it's the agent and the club themselves that want to keep him.
Yeah.
So they're trying to put the bits and pieces on every deal possible to keep him.
Yeah.
Now, whether that's true or not, we don't know. I did watch a clip a clips reel on him, and I will say that, do you remember a very young Musa Sissoko, who was very powerful and quick and skillful? He looks very much like him, so he's definitely like what we haven't got in this area. So, that's all I know about him.
I mean, like I said, I haven't done enough research. I mean, I don't think, because the rumours are kind of flying out a little bit at the minute with the way that who we're kind of trying to get. We are targeting areas we are quite light in. Obviously, Damari's now out for 6 weeks, so we kind of need a winger out there. I think this one remains to be seen a little bit. I think at the minute we are currently 13 days into the transfer window and we've signed one player. And I think there's a real emphasis, and this is what I'm seeing, speaking to other Blues fans, speaking to people online, etc., as well as people I know. I think there's got to be a lot of scrutiny a little bit more on Craig Gardner during this and the recruitment team, because at POM you can kind of say, well, Ipswich came in, they paid more money, is what it is. Poku was a weird one. It was a done deal, apparently. And the same as what has been reported here, that this is a done deal. And then another spanner goes in the works. And you're kind of thinking, well, once bitten, twice shy?
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the summer window, and all our business was done very early. And what that does then, it leaves the opportunity for bonus transfers, if you like, towards the back end of the deal, which I suppose at the POM they looked at that as this now obviously seems like the other way around. And when you only do your business when you absolutely desperately need bodies in the door really late, it makes you wonder whether they're the right bodies.
Well, I mean, you've got to look at case in point of who we signed late on in the transfer window. Jack Robinson was a panic buy. Yeah. And they can say they probably did a bit. It was probably in motion for a few days, but you can't tell me that he was the number one choice. Not in a million years. So there has to be a bit of scrutiny on Gardner in this window, which now actually brings me on to football manager aficionado me. Actually knows this one. John Solis from Girona. Now, I have signed him for Blues because you can get him fairly cheaply, right?
Oh,
now,
great.
We're not, see, this is the thing. We're not getting him cheap. He's going to, by all, like the reports, obviously, reports are crazy. And speaking to a couple of people over the Stansfield deal and the Lyndon Dykes reported fee, etc., they were miles apart from what we actually paid for them.
Yeah.
Stansfield, not so much because of the add-ons, but Dykes definitely. We reported that we're going to pay £500,000 to loan him till the end of the season.
Okay.
And if it's successful or he plays a certain amount of games, we have to pay them another $7.5 million. Now, is he good? On Football Manager, he develops into a good player. Right? That might be because I'm a tactical genius and I know what I'm doing.
Obviously.
I digress. But he fits the profile of what we need. A strong centre defender. I don't like using the word CDM or anything like that. He's a defensive centre midfielder. He plays more defensively. We'll call it the Claude Makelele role because that's what it is. Okay. And I saw on Twitter earlier, which obviously is the newsreel of the century, or X or whatever it's called now. Someone put a highlight video of him playing 73 minutes for Girona recently. And he had a bad game. And he was like, well, there you are. We're wasting 8 million on this dross. Truth be told, I don't watch enough Spanish football to say if he's good or not. But if he's been playing for Girona, who have been playing in the Champions League, yes, they're not having a great season this season. We're in the relegation zone, actually. He's got to have something about him. He's played 62 games in 2 years since he's been there, which is a fair old whack of games. He clearly has something about him, but he fits the profile of what we need. So if we could get that deal over the line and he turns out to be the next, Claude Makelele, then we've had an absolute dream. But until it gets through the door, and it's the same with Mane. Until then, I can't say anything because I don't know these players.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the not knowing them really, that kind of helps the players in a way, because if you don't know them, you don't really know what to expect until you see them. Then you're either impressed or you're not. I mean, take Ivan Sanchez, for instance, when we signed him, and it was kind of like, who the hell is this guy? And he was the best player we had. And then all of a sudden we loaned him out, and he was like, okay, whatever, this is weird. But anyway,
don't bring up the Spanish magician. It's a tough subject, that is. I had to watch it. I was watching him over COVID, and then all of a sudden, like, we can finally watch it. And we got rid of him. I was like, great, cheers.
I mean, he's the example that we use for the obvious reason that we come in and no one knew anything about him. And he was, I thought he was fantastic. Obviously, no one else in the club agree. I mean, who knows what happened in that one? It could have been his family, it could have been money, it could have been anything really.
I still follow Sanchez on Instagram, and he so
do I, because his wife was.
We got how long have we got?
I'm not on Instagram. I don't know why I said that.
No, I mean, I still follow him, and he's ended up in what is it, like the Iran League or Iraq? He's over. Yeah, he's over in the Middle East somewhere. I can't remember which league it is, but it's not one of the Saudi, UAE. It's right. A smaller league that he's playing in, and I'm just thinking, what a missed opportunity! And we sold him. We sold him to Valladolid, and they got promoted. He was playing in La Liga, so he obviously had a bit about it. He didn't play as many games maybe as he probably should, but I think, because there's a bit of a fear of unknown of these two players that we have been linked with. But then you can look at it with Kai Wagner, right? You can look at Kai Wagner's stats and go, it's in the MLS. Not really. It's not really a league that we could base it on. But actually, it's getting better, and it does have stars. Okay, they're more aging stars, but it does have stars. But he's been unbelievable. He's coming, and he's doing exactly what a left back hasn't done for so long at our club. I mean, Cochrane does it to a certain point.
Yeah,
he's assisting the strikers, and he also looks like he can defend. I'm a bit confused. I don't know where we scouted this one from, but he's done well so far.
Don't worry, we'll train it out of him.
And finally, it's a bit of a weird one. So there was a rumour that is flying about today, 13th of January, as we're recording. Keshi Anderson has been released. Now, the rumour is, and obviously this is all based upon hearsay and all based upon sort of the group chats that I'm in and social media, that he fell out with Davis. Now, I said to John earlier, I don't want to believe that is the case. But it may be that he has probably lost patience with the fact that he's not playing. When he comes on, it's very limited. He gets a limited amount of time. And he doesn't look... He's lost a yard of pace. He's got older. He's lost a yard of pace. I just don't think he's at the level of what he was even the season before, when he had limited time under Rooney, but then Rowett and Mowbray both played him. So if it is, I'd be quite sad about it. The fact that he's been released, not that we've sold him to someone. If we sold him to someone, or he was a free transfer to someone else, but I think I'd be quite sad about it.
Well, I mean, it would have to be a a mutual termination of contract, surely, rather than a release, because he's not out of contract. So you can say find another club, you can say you're free to leave or on a free transfer. But if you release, then that's a complete breakdown of that's contract ripped up kind of thing. Yeah. I think given the way that we are, I think the whole sentiment thing, I personally, I'll say thanks for what you did do. He's not good enough, and he would be one of the many people that I would want out the door immediately. Yeah. Anyway, to be honest, so I just think as long as there's no real backlash on the squad and the club, then really it's the best thing. It's the best thing.
I just think we're looking a bit light. That's all. We sent Cashin back. He's gone to Blackburn, I think. I know it's no great sort of loss in the way that, but when I was looking at that bench on Saturday, we got 3 players from our youth side, which I think is fantastic because you want to bring these players through, but also there shouldn't be a need for 3 of them. 1, 2, potentially 3. You're thinking, all right, something's wrong here. We're struggling to fill our bench with senior pros.
Well, yeah, obviously Dykes and Leonard have been admitted for obviously other reasons, but there's 2 straight away.
Dykes is going, I think. He's actually now been linked with Leicester.
We just need these people to leave. Really, that's the thing. Wherever they go. Not so much Leonard for me. I'm kind of hoping that. I'm reading that there's a lot of interest in Leonard. I'm kind of hoping that they let him go on loan, so we can have him back. And just.
I would be happy if he went north of the border for half a season. Wants to get into the Scotland national side because I believe he's better than some of the players that are in Scotland's national side. I just think we need to. We're looking a bit light, and so I just sort of. Before we move on to Swansea and we start to come to the end of this, what's a realistic transfer for you? Who do you think is someone out there? And I'll give you some bit of time because I haven't given you much of a preparation for this. But I think there's some players in the Prem that we could potentially loan, potentially buy, who are sort of on the periphery of their teams at the minute, and I actually think Jack Harrison. He's been linked with Fiorentina, but Fiorentina actually, if you look at the Serie A at the minute, we're in a relegation battle. I think he has a sort of link up with Patrick Roberts from years ago, so they have a dynamic there. I think realistically, we could potentially look at Jack Harrison as if we're trying to overload wingers, why wouldn't we go for a proven championship winger in Jack Harrison than going for Mane, who evidently probably doesn't want to come to us anyway? Whereas I think there's a lot to go in this thing, and I think he's a realistic target. I say realistic. I think I'm being a little bit ambitious actually with that one.
Yeah, I do as well.
Yeah. But then there's other players that need game time. If you look at the Scotland national side and the Welsh national side, and to a certain point Northern Ireland with their players who are playing in the Premier League or on the cusp of sort of playing, but they're kind of just half in the team, half out, and they need that game time heading to a World Cup. There's plenty of teams in the Championship.
Yeah, I haven't really got anyone off the top of my head. I wouldn't really sit there and say, oh, so and so player. I just think really we just need some strength and pace. So wherever that comes from, whether that's an experienced person or a young player that has it, we just need it, because I look at our options and I just feel that they're just all too similar.
Yeah.
And And I also think as well that when you look at our squad and when you mentioned the young players on the bench and everything, somebody else mentioned it over the weekend, and I thought to myself, Davies really hasn't played many young players. Stansfield and Beadle.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone else has been ignored, really. And when you look at our transfers over the last sort of 12 months, everyone has been sort of 27, 28, 29 years old. And you think, okay, that's fine if you're looking for a promotion, but we still have to take at least some of a squad up that that are going to be capable, if we are talking about doing it in the next 18 months or so.
And I think we just have to be realistic with what we can buy. I mean, like I said, Jack Harrison was sort of, it was, when I sort of put it down, the fact that he's available and he does have championship experience, and I don't think he'd see it as...
Is Jack Harrison the one that was at Everton for a couple of years on loan?
Yeah, and then he now plays for Leeds. I don't think there's much in the way of players that wouldn't, if you're a mid-table Premier League player and you're not getting into a team and there's no real interest. I mean, obviously Fiorentina are a huge club. I'm not going to discredit them because, my Batistuta t-shirt with Nintendo on the front, which I still wish I could get into or still have. I think realistically, he's probably going to go, well, I probably want to move to a Premier League side or a Championship side. So if we're going to be ambitious, like our owners say we're being ambitious, let's go and be ambitious and go and get him.
Yeah.
That's all I've got to say on that. So let's move on to Swansea. Right, now Swansea, obviously, we ain't going to win because we're on TV. So I might as well just let me cross this section out.
I like the fact that you think that might be the only reason why we win. It's got nothing to do with the fact that we're away. It's got nothing to do with the fact that they've actually, believe it or not, I did a bit of research, they've actually won their last 4 home games, despite being 17th in the league. So it's pretty much, that's gone very unnoticed because I've heard nobody go on about Swansea being very good at home. Because you just saw the league this season.
The thing is Swansea is sort of a similar level. They're kind of in and around the same area as us in the league at the minute. And you think 4 games on the back. I mean, obviously, everyone talks about our home record because obviously we've only lost 1 game in 2 seasons at home.
Yeah.
But I mean, 4 on the bounce is quite impressive.
Yeah, I've even got it written down. So they beat the Albion, they beat Wrexham, they beat Portsmouth, and they beat Oxford. Okay, yes, we know that Portsmouth and Oxford are down at the bottom, but they're still, and they've only conceded 1 goal in them 4 games as well.
So, right, let's just cut this section straight away because there's absolutely no. I think if we play like we did against Cov, we will potentially get a draw or potentially nick a win. We always get a decent result at Swansea or against Swansea, which obviously, again, I've just cursed us completely. But I think if this is ever a game that Davis can show his mettle and show that he has a plan B, it's this game. He can then go and say, if it's an absolutely horror show of a game, but we win 1-0 and we come away with a counter-attacking dreamboat of a game, I take it because it's 3 points, and I think he needs 3 points on the board away from home. It's all well and good of winning away in the cup, but the reality is we've got to sort the away form out, and if he plays like he did against Cov, I think we've got a chance.
Yeah, I mean, we go to Sheffield Wednesday on Tuesday. Right, so we've got 2 away games against teams that are in the bottom 7 of the division. Either way, you've still got to be looking to get results in them games. Yeah, I've still got no problem if Chris Davis's plan A he's working away from home. I have no problem with it, but it's not. So will he change it? I severely doubt it. I honestly believe that he's going to go with the same mindset in both of them games, and I think if it works and we get, let's say, 4 points, great. If it doesn't and we end up with less than 3, then that is not a good return from these 2 games for me. So,
well, Sheffield Wednesday are all over the place, but then they were when we played them at home, and then we saved ourselves.
They haven't won. Well, they won 2 games before we played them last time. They haven't won since. It still doesn't fill with the confidence that we can go there and get a result, does it?
No.
I mean, that's not good, is it? That's the real...
Going back to that game, someone put on our group chat, if anyone's interested, they've released some more tickets for the Sheffield Wednesday game, and they're going on general sale, that sort of thing. So if anyone hasn't got a ticket, try and snap it up. And instantly on my mind went, Tuesday night to Sheffield. I got work in the morning. I think I'd rather have had the flu that I've got for the last couple of days.
Yeah. I mean, it's really... I hope we're not sitting here after the Swansea game talking about the fact that we've approached it in exactly the same way that we have done for every away game so far.
I hope he's learned from it, and I hope he's now going. Swansea, if Swansea are that good at home, which judging by what you've just said, they are, we need to counteract that. We could always look at the way that we play and sort of cut a knife through it, because you could, there are things that are just not working at the minute. But if he plays like, and I repeat this, and I'm going to hold my hand tight, because if you play like Cov and they absolutely batter us, then it was completely a falsity, and Chris Davis watches this podcast. But I think he just needs to get something a little bit better, and I think he needs a result.
I mean, there's two ways of kind of looking at this, really. So he's either that stubborn that he's adamant that the way that we do it is the way to do it, and eventually it'll come good. Which personally, I think that'll be a hill he dies on. But he might think that, or even worse, he can't see that it's not working. He thinks it's working, so he's either stubborn or he can't see it.
Yeah.
There doesn't seem like another option to me.
No, I agree.
You don't stick with that in so many games when it's not working without trying to change something. I mean, we're not talking about with 15 minutes to go and bringing on an extra defender. We're not talking about that. We're talking about our approach to an away game against a certain opposition. And listen, if the stubborn and arrogance of it all is that I don't care who we're playing, we play this way and we will beat them, fine. I actually kind of admire that confidence. But when you're halfway into a season and it's not working, it is literally not working.
Something has to give. Something has to give. And I think that is something that we need to sort of work upon. And I think this is really where it shows if Davis is the manager that we believe he can be. If he gets this right in the next couple of games, and I think realistically, if we beat Swansea, 6 points, I'd like to say 4 points. If we get a draw against Swansea, I wouldn't be disappointed. I'd be happy again. We haven't won it away from home, but Kyogo scored now, so the floodgates are opening. But I think if we don't beat Sheffield Wednesday, questions really have to be asked. I know we're in the middle of a January transfer window, but there's got to be questions asked if we don't beat Sheffield Wednesday, because Sheffield Wednesday, as much as I think it's bad for their club, and I think they are a big club and they historically have been. I have a friend who's actually a Sheffield Wednesday fan, who I used to work with, and I felt for them but also on the flip side, when we were in the same thing, they were ones that were pushing for us to get points deductions. So there is kind of a little bit.
I mean, there's not really many football clubs that do fall, especially big ones that will fall by the wayside. So someone will help them out eventually. I mean, yes, I feel sorry for the fans and everything else, but I couldn't really give a fuck to the fans.
On that note, shall we finish?